Hello, and welcome to No Way Around. Today I want to talk about one of my absolute favorite topics ever. You know, I realize that I say that in a lot of videos, but it's because I have a lot of favorite topics, so bear with me. Space. I'm a huge astronomy nerd, and there are a lot of exciting things happening currently in space, and I want to talk about it. So today my video is about my favorite objects in space. So basically this means stuff in space that at the time of filming I am excited about. I divided my objects into two kind of categories, which is man-made stuff, so stuff that humans make and yeet out into space, and stuff that, as far as we know, is there without human intervention, like planets and moons. My first moon that I want to talk about is Earth's moon, Luna. Now, Earth's moon, it doesn't really have a name, we just call it the moon. But it is referred to as Luna quite a bit, so I'm going to use those terms interchangeably. Luna is, I get emotional thinking about our moon, honestly. It is Earth's only moon. We only have one moon. And it's kind of like our equivalent in the solar system of like a fenced backyard. The moon provides a relatively safe and easy to reach place in space that has really informed a lot of how humans reach space. We've been able to practice a lot with the moon. We've put so much random junk on or around the moon. And it really can inform moving forward a lot of what we're going to do in space exploration. I was recently reading a mission proposal that proposed in situ, so I guess like local laboratory studies on the moon as a way for us to inform ourselves how we're going to continue with our exploration of Mars and potentially one day send humans there. So big props to the moon. The moon also provides a lot of the gravitational force that influences Earth's tides, which provides a lot of the unique kind of ecosystems that we have on Earth, like intertidal zones. So props to the moon for that. Thank you very much. Also provides a good light source at night, so we love that. Earth and the moon are tidally locked, which means that we only ever see one face of the moon from Earth, which is just kind of a fun tidbit too. Possibly the thing I am most excited about in space right now is one of Saturn's moons, Enceladus. Enceladus is gaining a lot of attention in the scientific community because it may be the place in our solar system where life is most likely to live. You've probably also heard of the moon Europa, and I forget which planet Europa orbits actually, so I'm not going to try to say. Editor Noah will put that up here for you. But Enceladus is a planet with liquid water underneath a water ice surface. Enceladus actually regularly jets liquid water out into space, which is kind of cool and could provide a good way of us collecting some water and analyzing it without having to land on the surface, which is kind of important from like a biological contamination perspective. But it seems as though Enceladus has the components to support life as we know it on Earth, which is really, really cool. So that is a potential. Obviously, if there is life elsewhere in the solar system or elsewhere in the universe, there's no guarantee it will look anything like what we think of as life on Earth. However, all we know is life on Earth, so that's kind of like what we have to start with. And Enceladus has a lot of the components like organic chemistry and liquid water to support life as we know it, which is really, really cool. Enceladus also has some really cool stuff happening with its surface. So it has a water ice crust, and there's a lot of really cool like rifting and formations caused by the ice that are just super interesting to study from like a geologist's perspective. A lot of the moons in our solar system have kind of a water ice crust that acts very similarly to how rock acts on Earth, or at least in a similar way. I'll have editor Noah put a picture up of Enceladus right here so you can get an idea of what I mean. Some of the rifting and formations are actually visible from space, which is really, really cool. My next favorite moon is also one of Saturn's moons, and that is the moon Titan. Titan is the second biggest moon in the solar system, and it is fascinating from a science perspective because apart from Earth, Titan is the only other place we know of in our solar system that has liquid liquid precipitation on the surface of the planet. So the liquids on Titan, because Titan is significantly colder than Earth, the liquids that we can observe are hydrocarbons, primarily methane and ethane. So Titan actually rains liquid methane, which is fascinating. Like Enceladus, Titan has a water ice crust, which is often shaped by rivers of hydrocarbons like ethane and methane, which is just blows my mind. It's so fascinating. Titan is also the only moon in our solar system to have a significant atmosphere. Titan's atmosphere is about 50% thicker than Earth's, which means if you were to be on the surface of Titan, it would feel like you were underwater on Earth. Well, I mean, under a certain depth of water, obviously, like the amount of water above you really just sort of determines how much pressure you feel. But that's really cool. Titan's atmosphere is primarily nitrogen. So fascinating stuff there. Obviously, Titan is another planet that has the potential for life. We think it may have the potential for life as we know it, because underneath the water ice crust, there does appear to be a layer of liquid water. There just isn't liquid water on the surface. And there's a potential that life as we don't know it, life that is unique so far in our experience, could exist in the liquid hydrocarbons on the surface. We just don't know. So that is fascinating. Amazing. I'll throw up a picture of Titan here. I don't know if there are any really clear pictures of Titan. Most of the ones I've seen, it just sort of looks like an orange ball. But still, we love Titan. We gotta show it some love. My last favorite object in the solar system is Earth. Good old-fashioned Earth. Earth is our home, and so I think we tend to take it for granted. But Earth is actually one of the most unique places in our solar system, and frankly, doesn't get enough love. So let me tell you about Earth. Earth is a gorgeous, gorgeous planet. As far as we know, Earth is the only place in the solar system with liquid water on the surface, which is fascinating and has a really huge impact on everything that lives here, obviously. We ourselves cannot survive without water in any capacity, really. Earth has, as far as we know, the only life in the universe. Now, obviously, there are various levels of debate as to whether or not life exists elsewhere in the universe, and a lot of NASA missions are kind of centered around that exploration. However, thus far, we have never found life anywhere other than Earth, which is just fascinating. And the cool thing is, Earth is absolutely packed with life. Like, it's almost impossible to get away from it. Like, I'm actually going to do a video later on about interplanetary biological contamination and the protocols in place around that. But a lot of our difficulty with space travel in terms of biological contamination is that it is nearly impossible to sterilize anything completely on Earth's surface. Like, there's bacteria everywhere, and the conditions that humans can survive are very limited compared to the conditions that archaea and bacteria can survive in, which is just interesting to note. Earth also has the distinction of having its own magnetic field, which it generates. So a lot of planets don't have a magnetic field like Earth's. A very interesting topic from a geologist's perspective, an astronomer's perspective, is Earth's magnetic field. Earth's magnetic field is actually something that is part of the reason, I'm not talking about this really well because I'm really passionate. Earth's magnetic field is part of the reason that we can survive on the surface of the Earth. So other rocky planets in our solar system, like Mars, may not necessarily have one. Our magnetic field is generated by the motion of liquid iron in Earth's center. So basically, Earth has many different layers inside of it, and some of those layers contain liquid iron, and it's the motion of that liquid iron within Earth that generates our magnetic field. We have a global magnetic field, which basically means it's bigger than the planet, it covers the whole planet, it is generated by the planet, and anywhere you go on Earth, if you're a magnetic object, you're going to feel the impact of it. Like anywhere you go on Earth, you can use a compass to point you towards magnetic north. Our magnetic field is something that changes all the time, and we really don't have a thorough understanding of yet, so there's a lot of exciting research that goes into it. But it does protect us from certain things in space, and one of the concerns about exploring planets like Mars that don't have global magnetic fields is how to work around some of those things without those protections. One of the things that makes Mars different from Earth is that there are small areas of magnetized crust which may provide small local magnetic fields, but part of the reason that Mars doesn't, at least at this point in history, have a super thick atmosphere like Earth is because solar winds can contribute to stripping the atmosphere away. And a magnetic field actually prevents that from happening, or at least from happening to the same extent that it might otherwise. I'm going to put a disclaimer here. I'm not an expert on magnetic fields. I just find it super interesting, like the small level of research I've put into it. Fascinating. I could talk about it all day. Earth also has very active tectonics, which again is part of the reason it has a magnetic field, but it's very interesting to explore because as far as we know, I don't think any of the rocky planets in our solar system have an active tectonic system like Earth's. There is some thought that Mars perhaps in the past has had a similar one, but that still remains to be seen. And I'm going to talk about a little bit later about Mars exploration and some things I'm excited about happening there. But just interesting to note. So show Earth some love. It has a lot of uniqueness and it's really cool. Also a good home for us. So I appreciate it. Moving into the category of man-made objects in space, I have two of these that I want to talk about. The first is the New Horizons mission. So New Horizons is a spacecraft that was the first reconnaissance mission to Pluto and the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt is kind of an area at the edge of our solar system full of a lot of objects that we don't actually know that much about because it's really, really far out there. The New Horizons mission was originally launched, let me look at my notes here, originally launched in 2006. It did a flyby of Jupiter and sent us some data in 2007, and it spent about 6 months helping us study Pluto when it finally reached Pluto. So its closest approach to Pluto was in 2015. The thing is, though, New Horizons finished its reconnaissance mission to Pluto and continued on into the Kuiper Belt. So it's now about 4 billion miles away from Earth and still sending us data, which just, it blows my mind. New Horizons helped us complete the first, well, kind of the furthest out up-close exploration of a space object in 2019, which was nicknamed Ultima Thule, and it has like a numeric, the object it explored in the Kuiper Belt has like a numeric name, but like I was not going to memorize that. So it's nicknamed Ultima Thule, and if you want to look that up, I'll put a picture of it up here, but if you want to look that up, it's really fascinating. It turned out to be really complicated. So big props to New Horizons, sending us data for years and years and years. And recently, New Horizons also completed the first interstellar parallax experiment. So I'm not an astronomer, I'm just a nerd, and I don't know if I can really fully explain parallax, but basically your distance affects your perspective on where things appear to be. The distances between certain objects are almost beyond human comprehension, because the distance between stars, for example, is beyond the scale of anything that humans have ever traversed. We have encountered interstellar travelers. There was an object that kind of was moving super fast and made its way into our solar system that we were able to observe, I think in 2017, that seems to have come from another solar system. But still, those distances are so far beyond what is intuitive for humans to grasp. So where the stars appear to be at different places can help us understand where they actually are and how far they actually are apart. So New Horizons, because it has a perspective on the universe that very few times we've ever been able to see, because it's now like very far to the edge of our solar system, has been able to help us a lot with understanding the distances between stars, because it's far enough out, I mean it's 4 billion miles away, that it gives us a different perspective on those stars, and we were able to conduct the first interstellar parallax exploration, which is just so cool. I just feel that that's amazing. That's so cool. My final object in the solar system that I really, really love and I'm excited about is the newest Mars rover, Perseverance. I am particularly excited about Perseverance right now because it is about to land on Mars in less than 20 days. Perseverance is scheduled to land February 18th, 2021, which at the time of filming is less than 20 days away. I'm so excited about this mission. Perseverance was launched in July of 2020, so, you know, there was a lot going on right then, which is probably why it didn't really make it into mainstream media, which is fine. But it is a very important mission, and I'm honestly a little bit emotional about it. Those of you who have been on the internet for a while probably can remember with me the widespread mourning when Opportunity rover lost contact with NASA. And not gonna lie, when I learned that this Mars rover is named Perseverance, I teared up a little bit. I don't know if that bears any relationship to losing Oppie, but it got me in the feels, basically. So Perseverance rover is carrying a lot of exciting stuff. It's really hard to decide what part about this mission I am most excited about, to be honest with you, because it really covers a lot of my areas of interest, but I'm going to talk about some of them. So the first thing that's super cool about Perseverance is that it is covering the most cameras we've ever put on a spacecraft. Perseverance is carrying a total of 24 cameras, so it's carrying a couple on its outer shell, because there's a shell around the actual rover for in flight to protect it and everything, and for propulsion and all that stuff. So it has cameras on its actual outer shell, and then it also has 19 cameras on the rover itself, which means it'll give us different perspectives of Mars than we've seen before. So excited about that. NASA is also planning to film using the cameras on the outer shell. They're planning to film the process of descent. And as far as I can tell, looking at the NASA website, it seems as though they're going to release that footage to the public. So we may be able, in a month or two, to be able to see from firsthand kind of a first person perspective the process of landing on Mars, which I'm so excited, you guys. I'm so excited. The next really cool thing about Perseverance is it is carrying a microphone, which means we will have audio data from Mars, which is amazing. We'll be able to listen to a recording of what it sounds like on the surface of Mars. Perseverance, this is something that I find is really hilarious. Perseverance will be carrying out a game of what I like to call extreme geocaching. So in the past, when doing geological studies of Mars, rovers have used instruments that kind of crush up rock so they can analyze the chemical components, which does tell you quite a bit about the rock. And then you can look at pictures as well that they send of rocks, and that also tells you a good amount if you're a geologist. But something that is very, very beneficial and can tell you even more that geologists on Earth like to do is taking rock cores. So you basically take a chunk of rock from a specific place, you make note of where you got it from, and then you're able to see all the layers within the rock. Mars seems to have a lot of basalt and I think a decent amount of sedimentary rocks too, but Perseverance will be taking rock cores and keeping them intact so these rocks aren't going to be crushed up, and then leaving them in retrieval canisters. So thus far, there are proposals for retrieval missions to Mars. I don't think anything's been finalized, but basically Perseverance is going to stash some rock cores for us so that in the future, if we are able to send a return mission, we'll be able to take those cores and view intact Mars rock samples and have a detailed understanding of where they come from on the surface, which will tell us so much we don't currently know about Mars, so much. Perseverance is partially designed to look for life on Mars too, so it's going to be landing, I think, in Jericho Crater, but don't quote me on that. But basically the mission is partially designed to look for life, so that's going to help with that. And they also sent a little a little drone hovercraft, a helicopter powered craft, with Perseverance. So a couple months into the mission, they're going to do their first rotary powered flight test on another planet, which frankly I don't actually understand. I don't understand why. I don't know what the scientific implications are there, but I do think it's really cool that they're doing it, and it's kind of hilarious to think about the fact that this is the furthest from Earth we've ever had an RC car operate, or an RC plane, I guess, an RC drone. I just think it's funny. So yeah, I am super excited, and I wanted to make sure I published this video before Perseverance lands so you guys can maybe have a heads up, perhaps be able to kind of monitor the process of this mission yourselves. I had actually originally filmed this video before. I filmed the entire thing, and then I rewatched it, and I was like, you know what, Noah, this is not your best work, and frankly, when I do science videos, I really want to be accurate. I want to make sure I'm actually dispensing the right information as we know it currently, and I felt like I just didn't convey the information in a way that was good, and I made a couple mistakes. So I'm refilming it now. It's coming out a little later than I meant it to, but hopefully we'll still be able to upload it before the mission actually is completed. And obviously, Perseverance will be sending us info from Mars for a really long time, so there'll be a lot of fun stuff to look forward to there. As always, if I actually did make a mistake in this video and you happen to know, or if there's an aspect of this that you really want to discuss and talk about, please discuss in the comments. I would love to chat with you guys about any aspect of astronomy, honestly, but especially what I covered in this video. If there's any topic in astronomy you would like me to cover in a future video, please let me know as well. I would love to do that. And if you liked the video, hit like. It's good for me to understand kind of from a creator's perspective what you guys are enjoying and what you might want to learn more about. And obviously if I make any huge glaring mistakes, I certainly hope not, but if I make any huge glaring mistakes, I would like to know that as well, because growth is a mindset but also a practice. So I hope you guys have a fabulous, wonderful day, and go and enjoy the wondrous beauty of the universe. And if you're in a place that doesn't allow you to do that, I am truly sorry, and I'm sending love to you. So with that, I will sign off now, and have a fabulous astronomical day.